Insights focuses on two neighbor island races. First, Hawaii Island County Council member Dru Kanuha faces off against former council member Brenda Ford in the Democratic primary for State Senate District 3, which runs from Kailua-Kona to alehu. Then three candidates vying for the West Maui seat on the Maui County Council, Tamara, Paltin, Nava, and Ernest Balinbin, will be live in studio to discuss the issues. Tonight's live broadcast and live stream of Insights on PBS Hawaii start now.
Aloha and welcome to Insights on PBS Hawaii. I'm Laura Yamada. Well, tonight we're going to hear from the candidates running for two different offices. The first half hour will feature the two Democratic candidates running for State Senate District 3 from West Hawaii. It is the seat held by Josh Green, who is running for Lieutenant Governor. After a quick change, we move to Maui, where three candidates are vying to take over the West Maui County Council seat held by Ellie Cochran, who is running for Maui County Mayor. So we look forward to your participation in tonight's show. You can email, call, or tweet your questions, and you're going to find a live stream of this program at pbshawaii.org and the PBS Hawaii Facebook page. As usual, we want to acknowledge our volunteers. There they are, our PBS friends and family who are taking your questions tonight. Thank you so much to them. Eagerly awaiting your input in tonight's show. Okay, now to our guests. Two Democrats are facing off in the primary election for Senate District 3, which covers the area from Kailua-Kona to alehu on Hawaii Island. Now, whoever wins this primary will face Libertarian candidate Michael Last in the general election. So to our first guest, Brenda Ford. She has been a resident of Kona for 23 years, serving on the Hawaii County Council for 8 years until 2014. And our second candidate, Dru Kanuha. He has been a member of the Hawaii County Council since 2012, representing portions of North and South Kona. All right, thank you so much, both of you, for joining us. And a lot of issues to talk about. We'll try to squeeze in what we can in this half an hour, but let's get to a big question first. What would you say is the biggest issue facing your district, and how do you propose to solve it? Feel free.
Okay, there's actually two, as far as I'm concerned. We don't have enough medical access. We're short in the state about 600-700 doctors. We have trouble getting them into our location, and we have an extremely high cost of living. You're probably familiar with that over here. We want to build a new hospital. That's one thing. The other thing that we'd like to do is I'm working with a group of community leaders to bring in University of Washington's Physician Assistance Program, start a school here. It's designed for rural areas, and those students can support the doctors in the area. One doctor can oversee 4 PAs. So that would give us immediate access to more doctors and more through the hospital. The old hospital would be repurposed for any of the above. It definitely needs to be a childbirth center. It's too far to go north all the way to the new hospital, which will be at the airport. Homeless, drug rehab, psychiatric. I mean, there's just a slew of things that we can have there, which means more jobs. And that's what we need, more jobs in our community. So then the second one is affordable rentals. We have everybody in the state has this problem. We do not have affordable rentals, much less houses for people to buy. So,
and I think this is one of the questions that's going to come up soon.
Okay, you want
so
me to wait?
Hold that on that thought on that
I'll
one.
wait.
And Dru, why don't you go ahead? What do you think is the biggest issue facing the district?
Well, I'm not going to bring up the affordable housing issue because we're going to talk about that later, but definitely access to health care is one of the biggest issues that I hear from our community. We definitely want to build a hospital closer to the airport in Kona, but we definitely want to take care of our community health centers all over the district. We live in an extremely rural district. The district spans from the Kona airport all the way to alehu. It's a huge district. It's very difficult to get health care to all the rural parts of the community. So it's going to be important that we provide that quality access for our residents that live in these rural areas. We see over and over again that we can't retain the doctors in the district, the specialized doctors, the ones that take care of the heart, the ones that take care of all the specialties that we need. People are always flying to Honolulu to take care of all these issues that face them. It's very difficult for them to do that, especially if they're facing a serious health issue. So how do we make sure that we have those specialties in the district to take care of the residents' need is going to be a big challenge that we're going to face.
Now, this leads to a question we also had on healthcare anyway, so I'm just going to roll right into this. So if you were able to move from the county level to the state level, first, do you feel like the state is doing enough as far as to meet healthcare needs in this particular area? And if you get the chance to move to the state level, what would you do specifically in that context to be able to help your county?
We need that new hospital built. The old hospital is not in good shape. It's too small, not enough beds. The ER is so tiny that when I took my husband there, he was stuck in the ER for 36 hours because there were no beds left in the hospital. So it doesn't have enough water pressure. The reservoir that serves it is maybe 100, 200 feet above, and they have to put in pumps in order to get the pressure up so they can do medical procedures. So the new hospital is the first thing that we really need to go to work on.
And do you think that you need to be on the state level to be able to do what you need to do?
Yes, we can't pull $500 million out of the county of Hawaii. It's going to take a lot of state effort, maybe some federal grants, maybe some private donors that we can get to help us build a new hospital.
And Dru, what else do you think you could do if you were able to be on a state platform?
Well, the state takes care of health care for our islands. The counties don't do that. Usually you see with the rest of the United States, a lot of the counties take care of the health issues affecting their communities. And Hawaii is one of the few states that it's the state's kuleana to take care of the health of our communities. So if I become the senator representing this district, I'm going to have to be advocating for funding for, again, our rural health communities, our rural health centers that take care of our the rural areas.
Now let's move to another issue that, of course, is top of mind for everybody, what's happening with the lava, the volcano, the destruction there. Let's talk about businesses, say, in the lower Puna area who've been displaced, residents who are homeless at this point. Do you have specific plans to help those who have been affected, the businesses, the residents in the area because of the recent activity? We'll start with you, Dru.
Sure. Actually, on the council, we've been working on how we can help the businesses affected by this disaster. Pahoa, Puna has been affected tremendously from this the lava flow and what's currently happening. Not too many people are going to Puna. The Volcanoes National Park was the biggest economic hub for our island, and people went there to see the volcano. It's kind of ironic that now people can't go there because of the volcano. So on the council level, we've been trying to figure out if we can at least give them some reprieve on commercial taxes for them, just as a short emergency type of situation. And I think we're going to have to work through on how to keep those businesses going. We had a lady that owns a pizza joint come to the council the other day saying, I literally have 3 days left to pay my bills and I'll be out of business because I don't have enough money to keep my employees and to keep my business open. It's a very terrible situation, and a lot of people are suffering from it.
One of the things we're going to need to do at the state level is donate some land. We have 2 large parcels. One is near, I think, Hawaiian Paradise Park, and the other one's in a different location. We need to, as a state, donate those parcels of land, put in some infrastructure, at least down the main road, and hopefully encourage these people to move to these locations. Some of them can't get back to their properties at all because they're so close to the flow, or the gases or something that are being emitted makes it very unsafe. So we need to relocate those people. There's a big discussion going on whether Lava Zone 1 and Lava Zone 2 need to be banned from building any more housing, or businesses for that matter. I can sort of agree with Zone 1 because that's basically lava flows and craters and things like that. But Lava Zone 2 takes up most of Ocean View. We'd have to remove 4,000 to 6,000 families out of that area. If we ban all construction and all housing and businesses. As far as the businesses, we need to give them land so they can rebuild as well.
You talked about donating land and needing to work through that on a state level if you're
Yes.
able to do that. What's your sense? Do you get the sense that you're going to have the support to be able to make that happen, to realize that, or is that going to be an uphill battle?
Well, everything's an uphill battle. You know, that's all we have are mountains to climb around here. But the governor has been talking to the mayor. He seems to be very supportive of helping all of these people. So I believe that we will be able to do it. Will it be an uphill battle? It probably will be an uphill battle, but I'm prepared for that. I spent a lot of time on uphill battles on the county council. So I think we can get the land. The state has no reason not to allow this land to be used for these people that have been completely displaced.
I'm going to move on to the next question and let you catch your voice there a little bit. I believe it's the VOG. Is that not right? Tough out there on the Big Island. Let me get to this one. Senate District 3 runs, as we've been talking about, as most people know, Kailua-Kona all the way down to South Point, out in big area. These communities, very diverse, very different needs. How do you plan to balance those different needs, knowing what the area and the district is like?
Great question. It's one of the difficulties of representing this entire district. You look at Central Kona, you're going to have the tourism aspect. There's a lot of commercial activity. There's a lot of people coming in, enjoying the town, Kailua town, and it really is focused on the tourism industry. And then you get into South Kona, getting down into Ka'u, you're gonna be facing the rural communities, balancing the agriculture, and really finding commercial and business activity that doesn't affect their rural lifestyle. So it's gonna have to take that balance and really, you know, working on the council, even representing Kailua. I represented not only downtown, but you represent the Mauka areas as well, very rural, looking at that agricultural aspect. So we've been doing that on the council for a long time and trying to find that balance, and I think it's going to be a good opportunity to look at what the needs of Kona are and try to differentiate from the needs of Ka'u and how they really want their community to be focused on. We just passed the Ka'u Community Development Plan, so it's a credit to the community of Ka'u that they came to us saying this is how we want our community to be developed, and they really want to keep that rural lifestyle. So it's something that we need to keep on advocating for.
Some specifics, and then I want to get to some of these viewer questions.
Well, most of South Kona, actually all of South Kona and a large portion, the bottom third of North Kona are all ag. We have little villages here and there with a little shopping capabilities, but it's agriculture. And we have a lot of problems, and we have theft. Ag theft goes on all the time. We need more state inspectors to prevent, bugs and things coming in. We have only one agricultural investigator to investigate these crimes. We actually need 5 more. Second one for the Big Island, and then the other islands each need one at the very minimum. So dealing with the ag area is quite different than dealing with the downtown village area of Kailua-Kona. The biggest issue we have in all these ag areas is water, and water. We don't have enough wells, so it's a very spread out area. You don't have any kind of centralized water system or wastewater treatment system, so everything has to be taken care of on the property.
Is there something specific that's being talked about to potentially address that?
Yes, the state has passed a bill. I think Nicole Lowen was the one that did it, so that we can have, by 2030, no more cesspools. The problem is the west side of the island that we represent is rock, and cesspools don't work too good on rock. I'm sorry, septic doesn't work too well on rock. Now you can create a leach field if you want, if you have enough property to do that, but you've got to be in a rural area. You can't do it in a non-rural area.
Well, I know there are a lot of different issues to talk about, but let me get to some of these questions to make sure we get our viewers in on this. You talked about, you mentioned the high crime, by the way, in some of those areas. This is one question, anonymous person though. What are the candidates' plans for reducing high crime on the Big Island? Anybody want to jump in on that?
If it's ag, we need another ag investigator. We need to get our farmers to work with this investigator. They're supposed to be producing a certificate if they're selling 100 pounds or transporting it, so we can track it. Our farmers sell to the stores, they sell in farmers markets, so those are some of the things. And then we need more ag inspectors to stop the stuff
I'm
coming.
going to let you jump in on this one. I'm going to throw this question in there too, since it's related. Alan from Ocean View is saying, Ocean View police response time taking 30 minutes to an hour if elected. How will you improve this? So touch on that, and as well as just the overall question of high crime on the Big Island.
Sure. Again, living in a rural community is going to be difficult to reach all the rural places of the island. I'm glad, being on the council, we refunded the Ocean View Police Center, and it's going to help them hopefully be able to respond faster and quicker to issues that are happening within Ocean View. Ocean View, again, is one of the biggest subdivisions in the United States. It's very, very broad, and there's a lot of people that live there. But we definitely need to make support, our small little police outlets along these rural areas. It's going to be an uphill battle. That's usually a county function, but if the state can help with funding or additional resources for the county with the additional police, it will definitely help help with the crime in these areas.
May I add something to that? We need a police station in Ocean View, and we need a new police station in Captain Cook, South Kona area, and we need more police officers. This is such a large area from Hanalo Junction, which our people will know about, all the way to alehu. We don't have enough police officers. Sometimes we have only 2 on duty at a time. One accident will take 2 officers out, and then more officers have to be shipped from North Kona south. We have a stretch of 37 or 40 miles, something like that, maybe longer. Yeah, 40 miles at least, that the police officers are covering on that nasty road that's real windy. So we need a police station in each location. While it's a county issue, I intend to try to get the state to help and hopefully the federal government to help.
Let's move on, just because we have so many questions. This is a viewer question as well as one of ours, too, talking about the cost of living. No surprise that this would come up. During a Quality of Life show, what came up repeatedly was the lack of high-paying jobs for young people, and as well as Dean here, kind of complimentary to that, as far as a question, either of the candidates have a way to bring down the cost of living on the Big Island. So cost of living and just getting some jobs out there that pay well. Maybe I'll start with you, Dru.
Sure. Obviously, we need to help diversify what we currently have on Hawaii Island. We have a lot of our keiki, our keiki that graduate from high school, they leave, they go to college, and it's very difficult for them to come back because there's not enough jobs that they want to join that pays well enough for them to live in our community. So we're definitely going to have to diversify our industry, look at NELHA or OTEC, and see the scientific breakthroughs that they have down there. They use a lot of the ocean water to create different types of industries, whether it's related to seaweed or farming methods from the ocean. There's a lot of things that we can help with OTEC and NELHA to try to help diversify the economy. That's one aspect of it, to make sure that our people have better paying jobs that are out there. But there's also, looking at living in Kailua, it's very difficult to find a house to afford. My family's been there for a long time. They own property right across from Hulihe'e Palace. And over the years, they had to sell that piece of property because it just got too expensive for them to pay the taxes.
So many areas in the state that happening. I'm sorry, we're getting a little tight on time, so I just want to make sure I let you get a crack at it before I get to some questions.
The Physicians Assistance Program that I'm working with a group to bring in will produce jobs, medical jobs, 90,000 plus. You can have any kind of a degree in order to gain admittance to this school, so that will help. The governor's talking about, because we're pushing on him, and he's being very receptive to doing the R&D that Dru talked about in that area around the airport. So those will bring good jobs, we hope. But one of the things we need to do is start getting vocational schools back in our high schools. These kids are coming out of school and they're not prepared to do anything. And not everyone wants to go to college.
This leads to one of our questions from Jennifer from Waikoloa. How has the new UH campus, Palamanui, done as far as promoting college for West Hawaii students?
Terrible. We have a learning center.
Yeah.
The community college has moved up to that campus now, which is good, but it has a very limited curriculum.
Let me let you jump in on that.
Sure, I think we in Kona, we've wanted a university or a community college at Palamanui. It has been a learning center. I think it's great that we have something there now for our keiki to help educate themselves, but we definitely want to grow from there and figure out the needs that our children need as they go through the next stage in life.
I'm going to have to do a little bit of rapid fire with you guys here, so bear with me on this. I know you won't be able to explain as much as you want to, but let's talk about legalizing recreational use of marijuana. Why are we not in favor of it? Legalizing recreational use of marijuana.
I frankly don't have a problem with it. I'd like to see the state legislature encourage the federal Congress to lower it from a level 1 to a level 3.
That would be a start.
That would
Your
be a
thoughts on
start.
that, Dru?
I don't have a problem with it either. I just want to make sure our communities are safe when going through the different laws that how we're gonna allow it.
Right.
There's a lot of different aspects of it.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
Okay, another hot button issue, so-called safe zones, ohana zones, if you want to call it, squeaking by, but still pretty controversial. Do you support the establishment of ohana zones?
Yes, in fact, the late Dr. Kopp designed a village for the North Kona area near the West Hawaii Civic Center for families that have lost their housing because somebody lost a job or, excuse me, massive medical problems. And we need those, whether you call it an ohana zone or a homeless village or whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing. We've got to get these people housing and then bring in the social services.
Your thoughts?
Yes, we've been working on this at the county level for a long time now. We created in Kona Halekikaha, which does that with the micro-housing units. We're trying to work to figure out a bigger area where we can bring those social service providers to these areas and help the people transition from these transitional units to maybe an affordable housing type of project.
Constitutional Convention, in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
In favor of that. All right, that's coming up in a little bit. Another question too. State, are you in favor of giving the state the power to tax investment property to raise money for education? That's kind of getting a little bit of traction as far as interest, one way or the other.
It's getting some interest. And prior to this lava eruption, I might have been a little more encouraged to do that. The problem that I see is Hawaii County is devastated financially, not just the people, but the county itself. We're losing a lot of tax money, and it's going to take us years to recover. I can't see sending any more money out of the county. Now, inside the county, it's a different issue.
What do you think?
I voted against the property tax increase the last time it came up, and I voted against the general excise tax increase. I don't like trying to increase the taxes for our property owners, but if the state legislature is going to have to find a way, if the community decides that they want to go through with this investment tax increase to help our schools, the legislature is going to have to find a way to make sure that they figure out what is encompassing of an investment property. We buy houses as an investment, so us as the legislature is going to find a way to decide what exactly is going to be that investment property.
I'm going to try and squeak in another viewer question here. This is from Lloyd. Why has Hawaii County not created a viewing area so tourists would have a reason to visit? And what have you done to help this issue? That's from Lloyd.
We are, I don't know about the council, but the community, the island community, certainly the mayor's office and civil defense have been talking about creating a new viewing area to bring more business into the Puna area. I can't do anything about that, myself. I don't think the council can do anything about it.
Always giving you guys a tough question.
I know,
Dru, you wanna
but the mayor can. The mayor can help with that.
Yeah, we've been wanting to try to find a safe place, a location for this to happen. We want tourism to come back. We want people to come back into the community. We've been trying to work with the mayor to figure out something like that, but at the point when the eruption was happening, it was just too unsafe for them to do something like this. But definitely wanted it to happen. The lava's not flowing anymore, so it might change the aspects of moving forward with this. We got to figure it out.
I'm going to see if I can squeak in a couple more. One from Frank here. He says, why build the hospital near the airport? Seems like serving tourists rather than locals living. Okay, actually, last question.
No, it
Last
can
question.
serve tourists, but we need that new hospital because the old one is really going to pieces. And it's near the airport, so we can fly patients in and out
Okay.
and doctors in
I'm going
and
to
out.
let you squeak in real quick.
Extremely important that it's by the airport for that exact reason. Make sure that people have access in and out of Hawaii.
All right, we got most of our questions. Good job, you guys. A lot of questions still to be answered, but thank you for working on that. All right, mahalo to you for joining us tonight, and thanks to our guests, Brenda Ford and Councilmember Dru Kanuha. We're going to do a quick change. We're going to turn in a few minutes to hear from the three candidates from Maui County Council, West Maui. So please enjoy this Hikino story from Lahaina Intermediate School. We'll be right back.
Imagine being a teacher and being stuck inside a 90-degree class for 7 hours. That was the reality for several teachers in portable classrooms at Lahaina Intermediate School.
It was hard for the kids to study and keep their focus. The heat would kind of drain them, pull them down, they get tired and they start yawning.
Prior to the air conditioning units, the portable classrooms felt like they were in a different part of the island. It was much more hot and humid compared to any other classroom on campus.
We would drink maybe 5 gallons. We'll go to like 5 gallons of water a week. Prior to the installation of the air conditioning, now with the air conditioning, that 5 gallons lasting us almost 2 weeks.
Before the kids would come in, they would be tired, they're thirsty, and it would be like 98 to 100 degrees in here, and who can learn or think in an environment like that?
As the sun got overhead, we could open up the windows on the Mauka side, while in the morning we opened up the Makai side. But as the sun moved to the Makai side, now we had to close the windows on the Makai side to stop the sun from coming in from that side. So it's like you playing against the sun all day long. We used to monitor the heat in this room with the thermometer we have up on the board, and it would range between 92, 93 degrees.
But the air conditioning did not just magically happen. Miss Bago, an English teacher here at our school, was tired of sitting in the heat, so she did something about it.
One day at church, our pastor had gotten wind of the problem here with the air conditioning, just asked me to stand up in front of the congregation and tell everybody how hot it was in my classroom. When I shared that it was 98 to 100 degrees, there were donations for at least 3 air conditioners for the school here.
Since September of 2015, the air conditioners have made the portables a better place for all students and teachers.
It dramatically affected the students as far as them being more comfortable in the classroom. After the installation of the air conditioning, the temperature dropped dramatically, pretty much maybe 10 degrees, at least 10 degrees from maybe mid-90s, 92, 93, down to like maybe between 80, 82. It's still somewhat warm, but a lot more manageable than it was before.
As of May 2016, the DOE's Heat Abatement Program has a goal of installing air conditioning units in 1,000 classrooms. They have also bought 402 portable air conditioning units for the hottest classrooms in Hawaii.
Now the learning environment is wonderful. The kids look forward to coming in. I look forward to coming in. I can stay in my classroom and work. I can meet with kids at lunch, at recess, in the classroom, and have meetings here as well. And it's just a complete change around, like night and day.
This is Jagger King from Lahaina Intermediate School for Hikino.
Aloha and welcome back. For this next half hour, we are featuring the 3 nonpartisan candidates running for the Maui County Council, West Maui seat being vacated by Ellie Cochran, who is running for Maui Mayor. So please continue to email, call, or tweet your questions, and you're going to find a live stream of this program at pbshawaii.org and the PBS Hawaii Facebook page. And our volunteers, there they are, our PBS Hawaii friends and family, still here, of course, for the next half hour. Thanks so much, guys. Please keep them busy. All right, so now to our guests. Our first guest is Tamara Paltin. She is the president of the nonprofit Save Honolulu Coalition. She works as an ocean safety lieutenant at Fleming's Beach Park. And our second guest is Rick Nava. He is a graduate of Lahainaluna High School and a small business owner. He served in the Army and Army Reserve for almost 30 years. And our third guest is Ernest Balinbin. He is also a graduate of Lahainaluna High School, also owns a small business and serves in the Army Reserve from 1986 to 1992. So thank you very much, both of you, for joining us for the second half hour. Let's just go ahead and jump into a pretty big question here. What would you say is the single biggest issue facing your district, and how do you feel you would address it? Anybody want to jump in?
Well, definitely affordable housing. You know, there's nothing available for rent, for sale. There's a lot of illegal vacation rentals, and you know, Rick knows people can't afford to live there, and then the traffic makes it worse, so they can't afford to drive. You know, back and forth, it adds on an extra 2 hours to your day at least.
So how do you feel you would address that problem?
Well, part of it is you have to crack down on the illegal transient vacation rentals in the hopes that it opens up more affordable rentals for people. Another thing we could do is, you know, look at the housing credits. We shouldn't be giving or accepting cash in lieu of developing of affordable homes, because it doesn't even out. You know, you get way less cash than what an affordable home is worth at. And some other things, I know the Land Use Committee has identified 19 parcels around the county that are suitable for affordable home development. So, you know, what we should do is look into talking with some of it the county owns, some of the state owns, and some of it are private owners. And we should, you know, talk to people and see if we can get that into like a housing land trust so that it can stay affordable in perpetuity.
Let me let Rick or jump in.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you know, one of the biggest problems, of course, like I said, is the availability of, we're calling it now workforce housing and affordable rentals. And a lot of that is that, you know, it becomes so expensive also when it comes down to people who wants to purchase it. And from what I know is that there is a lot of, you know, duplication as far as the processing of the, you know, permitting process. And so that by the time it gets down, it takes a lot of time to get all this workforce housing being developed, that by the time it gets down to the home buyer, it's so expensive that most of the people can't afford. We have a situation right now in Lahaina where we thought it was about to open up, and suddenly it just it stopped. I'm not really sure what's going on with that, but again, it just makes it so difficult. Availability is, of course, the biggest issue. And I feel like the county and the state need to really work together. It's just not the county of Maui. I believe this is a statewide problem. And so we need to work together. We need to see what else we can do to make it really affordable for our people, especially in Lahaina.
Kanamu, how do you want to address that?
I totally agree. You know, affordable housing, affordable rentals, that's the #1 issue for the working class people. Big issue. You know, I'm really excited with House Bill 2748 getting passed in the state legislature. You know, this bill provides $570 million is going to affordable rentals and affordable housing, and I'm excited with that. Like Rick said, I think, you know, we need to work more with our state legislators, state senators, and make sure that, you know, Maui being the tax moneymaker that we are for the West Maui being the tax moneymaker they are for the state, you know, we need to get more of that. You know, West Maui, I say about half of the island comes and work at the hotels at West Maui. So, you know, there's traffic on the road, there's, you know, those situations. I feel that the hotels could be play a bigger role in there, because back when I was growing up, you know, I remember, you know, Elmer Cavalli was the mayor. He would make sure that these developers would first have homes, like a home. You take Kapulua Bay Hotel, when they opened, first they had Napili House subdivision, and all of those people worked at the hotel or for Maui Land of Pride, right across the street. Who wouldn't want to, you know, live close to their work, and in turn you get loyalty from your employees.
Let's talk about some ways that people have talked about as far as raising some money, possibly. The 0.5% surcharge, one way. Maui County being the only county that has not implemented the 0.5% surcharge to the state general excise has. Where do you stand on the issue? Do you support it? And if you do, how much you use the money? Your thoughts?
I don't support the surcharge. I feel that, you know, we already is paying so much with everything as it is. It's very, very expensive. in Lahaina, if you look at gas right now, I believe in Lahaina is what, $4.11. You have to go to Costco to get your gas, which is $3.19, I believe, which of course, that'll be 2 hours just to go to Costco. And to tax more of the people to come in, I don't think it'll just help us to want to stay in Hawaii the more. It's just too expensive as it is right now.
I think we should at least have a discussion about it. You know, the problem with the GET surcharge is it taxes the people who can least afford to pay the tax. People who are working paycheck to paycheck, they're going to pay taxes on everything. But on the other hand, you know, there's 3 specific projects that needs to get done to improve the quality of life for everyone. Not everyone can afford to buy a home in West Maui. Not everyone can afford to wait for the affordable rentals to open up. So, you know, being able to build, say, the Lahaina Bypass Extension, the Paia Bypass, or the North-South Collector Road in Kihei would make a big difference in the economy because tourists aren't going to be stuck in traffic. It's going to make a big difference in the people who have to commute, quality of life. So I think in the discussion of it, we should also talk about an earned income tax credit for the low-wage workers, you know, to try and balance out the tax. I think I saw somewhere that 35% of the GET is paid by tourists as well because everything factors into it. So, you know, if we ever were to adopt that surcharge, I think it needs to be very specific in how long it'll last, what specifically it's for, and that it's not an indefinite new tax. You know, it needs to be focused.
Kanabo, your thoughts?
I agree with both of them. You know, I don't want to tax. You know, a lot of the working class people in West Maui or in the Maui County, you know, we work our regular job and we have a small business on the side because that's the only way that we can survive. You know, that's the people that I support. So I don't support it, but we need to discuss it. It's good to put it on the table for people to know, and we need better communication between our lawmakers and the working class people to let them know what's going on. You know, when I was growing up, I never heard my dad say, "Oh, we got to go to this meeting. We got to go to this meeting." You know, working class people, they have a hard time making these meetings. You got to make it available in a better way, a better, broader way.
You know, one of the questions that came up repeatedly and issues that came up repeatedly in our Quality of Life series that we had recently, of course, was tourism, how to look at it. Where are we right now as far as how we might need to handle it within the counties or within the state? So what are your thoughts on this? Do you feel that tourism is well, it's definitely an economic engine feeding the state and the counties. Lots of tourists on West Maui, no doubt, for a good reason. But do you feel at this point that there's possibly too many? Do you feel at this point that we might need a management system of some kind?
Definitely.
I believe a management system needs to be in place.
What might you propose, by the way?
Well, that's something that I've been really looking at. Interestingly enough, this week's Time magazine in Europe, they're counting people coming into certain areas there. You know, in Lahaina, just like today, traffic is so bad. And when I'm sign waving and I'm looking at all the cars out there, and I understand that Maui has the most rent-a-car in the entire state. And now we're building an airport to accommodate all of this rent-a-car. I mean, we love the tourists. They are our economic engine. But with all these tourists coming in at the same token, it's taking away the lifestyle of us who lives there because we're catering so much with the tourists that we're forgetting the people who lives there with what we need.
So what might you propose that would help?
You know, I can't really think of any particular idea right now because I work in the tourist industry. When the downturn came about and the business stopped coming, my business, I had to lay off a lot of people. And now that it's coming in, I'm looking at, we have the highest visitors expanding on Maui, and we're loving it. So I really can't tell you right now. I love them coming in, but more so I believe we need to take a look at how we can help the local people so that it could be it has to be a combined effort.
Such a balancing
It is a
act
balance.
because
You
it's
have to
helping.
balance.
It's totally understood. You know, it's like
Any thoughts as far as some specific proposals that you might, or issues that you might bring up?
well, it's hard, you know, because a lot of people depend on the tourists. The working class people, they depend on the tourists coming here to feed their families and to pay their bills. So you know, one thing we can do is we can have a better transit system for these tourists, for the tourists that come here. You know, better bus system so they don't have to rent the cars, or they can rent the cars, leave it at the hotel, and use the bus system if they're going to the right places. That will alleviate the traffic problem. You know, but West Maui, we depend on tourists widely.
Tamara, you want to take a stab at this?
Sure. I think, you know, our 2012 Maui Island plan says that we want to keep tourism at 33%. In 2015, it was about 35 to 37%, you know, now. And I think what we need to do is work with the Maui Visitors Bureau and take a step back, look at the big picture, and have them, you know, instead of going to faraway places and promoting people to come to Maui, take some of that money and make sure that the Maui that we're telling them to come into is functional, you know, that they're not going to get stuck in traffic, that they're not going to not have parking to go to the beaches. We got to redirect some of that money and still invest it in tourism, but invest it in the quality of our project instead of, you know, I think people coming to Maui having great experiences, not drowning, not getting injured in the surf, you know, that kind of thing with a great experience can advertise Maui better than millions of dollars that you throw at trade shows, you know. So I think that we need to take a step back and still invest in tourism through the Maui Visitors Bureau, but instead of advertising, invest in our product and make sure that, you know, we get a good return. We've had about 7-8 years of record-breaking numbers. So I think, you know, we can pull back from advertising and make sure the product and the quality is good for everybody, not just the tourists, but for the residents.
So I think what always pairs with this discussion on tourism is how we might need to diversify within these counties or within the state, and what areas should we be looking at, what industries should we be looking at. So you take a look at West Maui, you look at all the former sugarcane lands out there. What are your thoughts on how all those acres should be used at this point, since they're sitting fallow, a lot of it? Should it be for housing, diversified ag, a mix? What would you propose? What are your thoughts? What should be our focus?
Well, I think we have an excellent opportunity. There's currently a lawsuit going on with the injection well issues. So, you know, if we were able to divert that recycled water and grow, like, say, energy crops or things like that, I mean, it would solve two birds with one stone. We're not injecting that nutrient-rich water into it ultimately ends up at the ocean, and we're making use of the agricultural land, and we're you know, creating something useful for the county. So I think, you know, community-based economic development, filling a need that's in the community and solving problems, that's what I see for the future.
Who wants to jump in?
Yeah, definitely agriculture should be one thing that we really need to take a look at West Maui. You know, however, from talking to a lot of the people also, 1999, when the last time Pioneer Mill harvested their sugar cane, so that's been almost 2 decades now. And we do have a little, some farming here and there, but part of it, I guess, right now is, of course, the issue with the water, which is always a big deal on West Maui also, and that's a lot of times become an issue also when we start to develop with housing. So, but again, we need to find a way to diversify our economy there on, you know, on Maui, and, you know, not just tourism. We've always been trying to do something else, but perhaps this is another way to take a look at it and not rely so much on the tourist industry.
Understood. I feel that we can have a farming ag community, you know, where we have, you know, like in wine country in California, you got these houses right next, you know, you got houses, you got the crops. You got houses, you got the crops. You know, we can do that here, like the old plantation days where people would have you had certain camps. You had Mala Camp, you had Pukali Camp, and all these communities, they all grew their own vegetables, and back then they shared with one another. If we can build some kind of farming community, that would kill two birds with one stone. You know, have people
farm to table, like
farm to table.
We have a lot of high-end
we have a lot of great farmers on the west side.
Yeah.
You know, and right next to the Honokauai sewage treatment plant, there's former pineapple fields, former cane fields. That's right there. You wouldn't have to divert the water far. You know.
I'm going to do a little mini rapid fire here to get some of these questions. This one's from Stephanie. What's your stand on legalizing gambling, perhaps in a lottery?
Me? No way. I am not for legalized gambling, legalized marijuana. I say medical marijuana is fine, no legalized gambling.
Legalized gambling?
I don't think that's a county issue, but I'm not for it.
No, not at all.
Bus system. What is your stance on expanding? You guys touched on this. What's your stance on expanding the Maui bus system for employees working, say, in hotels in Lahaina?
This is something that I've been talking for the longest time because of, again, being a business owner. My employees would love to take the bus from Central Maui to Lahaina. Unfortunately, the bus ends at 8:30 in the evening. And most of the people work from the hotel are 1 to 9, 2 to 10, to 3 to 11. So it's useless, basically. We can come to work, but how are we going to go home? Take us home? So definitely we need to extend that. Also, as Kanamo said here earlier, we could look at the way we could do it with our visitors also. So definitely, if we need to get those cars off the road, we need to take a look at our public transportation.
Expanding the bus system?
It needs to be done. I think the hotels could play a big role. A lot of these people, they don't only work from 7 to 3. They work from 7 to 3, then they work from 3:30 to 11. 2 jobs. So we need to collaborate with the hotels and the county transit bus system to come with the real bus system that is for the workers.
So everybody's pretty much in agreement here, it looks like, on this one. So let's move to this one, illegal vacation rentals. How do you propose to address that throughout Maui County? We'll start with you.
Well, we definitely need to put an end to it. There's going to be a charter amendment on the ballot this November to raise the fine on illegals to, I believe, $20,000, and I think that's a great idea. Enforcement with the administration, if we can help with funding, because the administration does the actual enforcement, I'm all for helping with funding through the budget to get more enforcement done as soon as possible and fine those people $20,000 if it should pass in November.
Yeah, I'm all for that enforcement also. The 20,000, I believe I'll make people rethink to do it. So hopefully that'll pass.
Yeah, I agree. I think West Maui has the highest percentage of illegal vacation rentals in the state, and I know for a fact that a lot of the vacation rentals are owned by part-time residents that are running it illegal, and they need to get fined. They need to get fined.
All right, so let me switch gears here a little bit. Each of you is running for the West Maui seat council, but the entire county actually votes for all of you for that position. So why should people in other districts vote for you, including Molokai and Lanai?
Well, for me, I know people on all islands, and I know issues. My mother's side family is from Hana. My dad's side family is from Lahaina, so east and west. So our family is huge. I have friends in all islands in our county, and the working class people are struggling. And I understand that because I'm in the same canoe as these people, and we don't have enough paddles. We need help. We need help from our government officials, and I'm here to do that help. I want to bring trust back to government.
Yeah, it is tough campaigning all around the Maui County, but we also, I like it, I enjoy it, because after all, we're all in this, together, and it makes it, because what we do in Lahaina actually could affect everything else on the other island, likewise in Pokalani, Molokai, Lanai, and so I don't mind it at all. I enjoy it, actually. I get to see my friends. I get to know when I go to Molokai, because we have some borders. I have a lot of friends in Molokai and Lanai, family members, so it's not a problem with me at all. I'm open. I truly like it.
Yeah, sure. I think people should vote for me because I have a history of working with a diverse community and collaborating to see solutions. With the Save Honolulu Coalition, we had to work with people of all sorts of backgrounds, people that like to surf, snorkel, you name it, tourist industry, local industry, Native Hawaiian community. So I bring that experience of working with the community and also being a county worker, so I bring that knowledge of how the county runs. And so I think that's definitely a help for me in representing the county as a whole.
I'm going to keep mixing it up for you guys. Here's another question. Maui County managing its sewage system. Do you think it's managing it efficiently? What changes, if any, would you propose?
I'd like to start there, please. I've been at this. I come from that area, Honokawai. I grew up 10 minutes from the sewage plant. And when they started that, the smell is horrendous, And people know that I've been on this issue. I've been contacted, by Belakai Services and the Yidro process, and they have solutions for these. And when I brought it to the county table, all I did was get to run around. We have solutions where it's cheaper, better, cheaper, and a better product. If you can bring something to the county that's cheaper and better,
Are you
should at least give you
going
the
to share
time.
those solutions? You said you have some solutions.
Well, the Yidro process and Belakai have the
Okay.
solutions. They have this organically friendly organisms that eat away
Okay,
the poop.
okay.
And they have test studies in Houston. If anybody of you guys have time, look at the Yidro
No doubt
process.
more discussion about that. I'm going to let you guys jump in. Who wants to jump in? Sewage system problem.
So, I've researched a little bit the Pukalani packing plant. I think that's a great model. In Lahaina, we just had a discussion about a low-income rental project, and they're not allowed to tie into the sewage system because it's at capacity. So, we need to start looking into those independently run packing plants and try and create like a model, for expansion upcountry. They have an issue with the cesspools, I believe. So we need to talk about different systems that's going to fit different areas. I don't agree with the state deadline to convert your cesspools to septics because the areas up there are the lots are too small to have septic, and they need to look into something that maybe a whole neighborhood or subdivision can get in on one packing plant station and model what the best is that we have out there. We don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, as Kanam was saying earlier, especially on Honokawai and the injection well, the sewer system there, it's really bad. And I'm certain there are other counties out there that probably has the same issues like we do, and we need to really take a look at this because it is affecting our tourism in that part of the island also. And I know at one point a lot of them they were capacity with the reclaimed water as far as using it to water some of the plants and all of that. So we need to continue working into that and hopefully get rid of the smell.
So we only have a few minutes left, so I want to make sure I get to this question. There's going to be, I think, at least 4 new members on the Maui County Council after this election season, almost half we're talking about here. So no doubt there's going to be a shift in how things work. Can you identify some specific changes that you would push in terms of the council's direction or focus?
Well, one of the most important things I believe from person such as me to work in the county is that we need to bring back the trust in the government and the elected officials. And that's why I walk around with my name tag. That's something that I really would like to be able to do is that basically everybody says open door. However, a lot of times it's so difficult to get a hold of people, and I want to make sure that people there, that I am there to be able to, I'm a lot more accessible than anybody else. And that's something I believe it's important because we need to engage with everyone and not just we in the elected officials in the government, but everybody who votes for us. So that's the one thing that I really would like to see is that more, when say open door, it's actually an
So
open
one
door.
of you might be joining a lot of new faces, as you mentioned. Specific changes, possibly, in light of this new group coming in, as far as the direction or focus.
I agree with Rick. We need to increase the trust, and I think the way that we can do that is, we have a countywide policy plan, we have a Maui Island plan, we're working on our community plans, and what we need to do is follow those plans. It's not just some document that sits on the shelf. We have good stuff in there, a great vision, great policies, what the community wants. They work long and hard on it, and what we need to do is, speed up the process to get the community's vision and what they want down on paper, and then once we do, follow those plans. Don't keep amending them. Don't change them up at the last minute. That's one way that we can increase trust in government is by listening to the plans that the people have created.
Kanama, we've got about a minute left.
I totally agree. The trust issue is big for a lot of us Kanaka Maoli and the working class people. I go door to door and I tell them where I said, I'm sorry, I don't vote because I feel like my vote doesn't count. It's a sad issue. So I believe that if we bring trust back to government and we take care of the local, the working class people. You know, these people are the, you know, they're the ones that pretty much running the West Side. They're working the hotel, they're servicing everyone, and there's just no trust. There's some bad decisions being made.
Maybe some new faces needed. All right, well, thank you so much, all of you. Mahalo to you for joining us tonight. And of course, we thank our guests again, Tamara Paltin, Kanamu Balinbin, and Rick Nava.
Thank you very much.
Next week on Insights, we begin our general election coverage with 2 constitutional issues that will appear on your ballots. Should there be a constitutional convention? We'll explore what that is, how it works, and the impact on our state. Also, should the state government be given the power to tax investment property to support public education? Join us next week for a discussion on these important questions. If you have not voted already, remember, vote is coming up on Saturday. I'm Laurie Amata for Insights on PBS Hawaii. Ahui ho.